Super Punch. Hey, what's good, Flash fans? This is Campfire Comics, and we're here to talk about The Flash, episode 11, and what our favorite moments were. I'm Campfire Rich.
I'm Campfire Nate, and this was a really good episode. I loved getting to see a little bit more of the Reverse Flash. I think that might be my favorite moment, is just seeing the Reverse Flash at the beginning, kind of throughout, because it's hard to pick a favorite moment from the Reverse Flash, but getting to experience him across the entire episode, getting to realize that they explained why he's there, and it made sense. I'll put it to you like that, because it wasn't like, oh, bad guys come back all the time. They beat him, so why is he there? And the fact that they explained it and it was actually, it kind of made sense, I thought was really good.
Yeah, this episode was awesome. Like, the whole time I'm watching it, I love so much about it. Even from the beginning, you're talking about how you saw the Reverse Flash before you even saw him initially. As far as in this episode, there was a runaway semi truck, and Flash is in it, and I'm just like, okay, what's he gonna do? He's got super speed. He's not Superman, he can't stop this truck. He can't pick it up, and he's like, oh, here's a tire jack. Let me take off all the tires while it's going down the road. And I was like, that's crazy. Like, I thought it was awesome when he did that.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah, because I was
the first thing I'm thinking is like, man, he's like the master pit crew guy. I mean, he just putting them tires on like nobody's business.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody would be lucky to have on their pit crew.
The next favorite moment, was with the Reverse Flash, and it was when they, saw each other for the first time. And, Barry was just kind of like, yeah, my Thorn. And he was just like, you know who I am? He didn't know what was going on. And all of a sudden, he was just like, oh, well, I know what timeline you're in. You'll die, too. And then he hit him with the Superman punch. For those of you who don't know, that's like UFC. Like, it's actually a fighting move, the way he kind of jumped up and punched him. And when he jumped up in slow motion and hit Flash, dude, I don't know. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty cool to see him do that. It's like, you figure the thing about the Flash and the Reverse Flash, when they fight, it's about momentum, so they pull up this, he basically jumps in the air and then slow motion and bam, knocks him, and it's kind of cool to see him and just see his abilities. I think the next favorite moment for me was Cisco getting to get his glasses.
Yep.
I thought that was really cool. For comic fans know that he will eventually become Vide, which is a kind of a C-class superhero. But he wears, he kind of has this kind of setup going on. So the fact that he got that, and then we got to see him kind of explore those abilities a little bit more, I thought was really cool. My favorite combination on this show is anytime there's a conversation between Wells and Cisco.
Right.
By far. There's never a moment where I'm not watching them two just absolutely on the edge of my seat, because either A, it's hilarious, B, it's super informative, or C, it's just great freaking just
humor.
Back and forth, completely back. It's great, and I love it a
lot. The deal with the glasses, does he in the comics, does he always keep them on, or does it just right when he puts them on,
kind of has like,
is there a way to control it?
Kind of has like this weird mask that's just like glasses. You can kind of like Robin or something like that.
Right.
But that's how they work, sort of. So you could say that's kind of like a low tech version, maybe, of like what they would originally look like.
Okay.
Again, he's not a huge superhero, so you'd really have to like dig to get like a good clean look of him.
They probably got a lot of free room and playability with this character, I would imagine.
Right.
The next was, again, the Flash and the Reverse Flash going at it. Was when he was about to kill that chick, and the Flash was hunting him down, and Flash, he's running as fast as he can. And then I realized, I don't know if everybody caught it, but he phased into that room. He ran through the wall, because I went and looked. I was like, where did he come from? And I went and I was looking at it, dude. He phased through the wall and then shoulder charged him and knocked him out. And I was like, dang, that was tight. Because we don't get to see him phase that much. He's always just kind of running, but he ran right through that wall.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. And then, like, I guess it was interesting because it's probably one of the first times that we've really seen him fight the Reverse Flash from this. That was like he didn't need help, and he was really bad at doing it. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like he knocked him up, and then I mean he's just punching him. You know, he's like speed. I mean that whole scene where he's just like standing beside him and he's like punch, punch, punch like that. It reminded me in the Matrix. You know, when in the first Matrix when they're
Oh,
fighting, it's all like slow motion, like punch, punch, punch.
yeah.
You know, he's doing that, and then finally he just knocks him out. And I mean, I feel like in that moment he was so angry with that. If they wouldn't have been like, you know, they're all like, Barry, stop. You know, I think he would have killed him. I mean,
I
I
think
think
he
he
would
was
have
he was
too.
like he wouldn't have probably intentionally done it, but I think he would have beat him to the point where he's like, oh wait a minute, I think I just killed this guy.
No, it was awesome to see that because the last time we saw these two dudes, Barry just couldn't handle him. He was too fast for him. So Barry not only caught him, but then beat the snot out of him at the same time. It was just kind of like, I win. I got you.
Yeah.
Open up the cell. I'm taking him back. And it's good to see, because you don't really get to know, because Barry's always struggling, right? Like he's struggling with Zoom. It's like, yeah, when is Barry going to be, when's he going to be the Flash that everybody says he's supposed to be, being able to do all these abilities? And we start to see that,
Yeah.
because how easily he kind of took out the Reverse Flash, which I thought was awesome, which kind of leads me into me being mind blown by the Reverse's Flash origin story, right? Because it took me a while to grasp. Anytime you deal with time travel, it gets to, a fluky concept. Like it's just hard to grasp the reality of time travel or whatever. But at the end, when he's like, this is his origin story, and it all really started clicking, from the first episode, or not the first episode, but, when we first deal with the Reverse Flash, this is how he knows Barry. This is how he knows he's got to kill Barry, because you remember he's like, Barry, the Flash is not fast enough. I can use his speed force to travel me back in time.
Yeah, I mean, that's that whole thing. That's how he knows about Cisco and Dr. Wells. I mean, it's all like this episode was the prequel to the whole first season. I mean, basically, it basically laid the groundwork for how he got to where he was, which I thought was cool because it made sense that he would cross time in the future. And so it's not like, well, we already beat him. Yeah, you did, but he's still part of the timeline.
Right.
He's not going to exist in the future, but this is different, So I thought that was kind of cool and it made sense. And then the fact that it turned to the point where because of them holding him, because they are literally doing what they didn't do the first time around, was causing things to change. It was causing Cisco to basically disappear. That this all took place, and he basically had to make the choice to send him away. I liked how they kind of got rid of him because I was really thinking when they captured him, like, man, we're gonna have Reverse Flash going on throughout this because they're dealing with Zoom, and I'm like, how is he going to play a part in Zoom? Now, I'm not saying he's not going to play a part in Zoom eventually before the end of the season, but at this point, it doesn't look like it. But it's a Reverse Flash. It's his biggest nemesis in the comics. We're going to see him again. Regardless, I'm sure they're going to come up with a real clever way to bring him back into the picture at some point in some way, shape, or form. And you know what? That's good. All around, I thought this was a good episode. Leading up to what we're going to get next week. There's small things I won't say that were favorite moments or small things that were kind of important to the story. I know we talked about last week. We weren't sure if Turtle was dead. Turtle's dead. Okay. I mean, Wells killed Turtle. You still don't understand what Wells is doing. It feels like Wells is maybe coming up with maybe a backup plan, not to just get Barry super fast and then let Zoom basically take his powers. I feel like Wells is still on that path, but I think he's trying to come up with a secondary option, a secondary solution so that he doesn't have to be the bad guy, basically. Right. And I thought that was interesting because there was the conversation between Caitlin and Jay where he's like, every time Wells, you think you can trust him, he does something. Like something happens.
Every time you think he's part of your team, something crazy happens or something happens to make you doubt him. There was just a lot, building on to, what's going to come from future stories. One thing I wanted to see, it wouldn't have fit in this, but I just thought it would have been awesome is when they was racing, not racing, but when Flash was trying to chase down Reverse Flash. if a blue streak would have come across and Zoom would have just jumped in on this. For some reason, it would have been awesome. I know it would not have fit with the story and wouldn't have thrown off the continuity, but it still would have been awesome to have all three of them there. And then for Zoom to just be like, both of y'all motherfuckers are slow.
Yeah.
Like beat them up.
I mean, I was thinking the same thing. When they were running around, I was like, is Zoom going to show up? I mean, if he does, it's just going to be like, oh my gosh, there's just so much going on, you know? So, but you're right. I don't think they put it in there because it just didn't fit, but it would have been crazy if that happened for sure.
Yo, what is up with this? Like, I actually got aggravated with the Patty Barry back and forth because, like, they kind of went away from, like, the super added forced drama, and I was like, I just got upset. I got upset with this one because it's just like, do you want me to stay? I'm like, we're dealing with adults. So what if there's a woman watching this right now? Okay. Obviously, Patty didn't want to leave. So why is she trying to add drama? Why is she talking about, I guess I'm just going to take this job. I'm going to leave. It's like she wanted Barry to, like, you know, say, no, don't stay and fight for me. Like, you know, the chick says she's been wanting to do this her whole life. She wants to leave, and now she's mad because Barry's not keeping her from leaving. Like, why even do that? Why create that?
Yeah, it was kind of, I mean, the whole point of it, and that's the thing, the whole point of it was that Barry didn't want to tell her because he's scared of Zoom. I mean, that was the point.
Right.
And Barry was like, I'm not going to tell her, and then she kind of figures it out on her own, which, again, I always like it when people figure out things on their own, because in the comics, it's always like, you know, I take the glass off, I'm Superman. And you're like, holy crap, how did I know that?
Yeah.
Dude, it's glasses. You know, make it more realistic, because them old, I mean, nothing against the older comics, but some of the storylines, you know, just something as simple as glasses, or, you know, you take off just a little bit of a mask and you can pretty much see the whole person's face all the time. And you're like, I didn't notice that was the same person. I mean, come on, people, you can figure it out. In real life, you can figure it out. So the fact that they make it a little bit more realistic, like she put a little time into it and realized, wait a minute, he's got to be the Flash. Okay, that's cool. But then the fact that it ended with him being like, all but saying it. He didn't say it. She knew it.
Yeah.
He knew she knew it. But they weren't going to say it because he didn't want Zoom to find out, and they left it at that.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll see her for a few episodes, but I definitely think she's going to play into this.
Yeah, she'll be popping back in for sure.
Here.
But guys, that's pretty much our favorite moments from the show. There was a lot of them. This was an awesome episode. You know, anytime you get to see the Flash doing Flash things, it's cool, and we got a lot of that this episode. So down in the comment section below, let us know what are your favorite moments. And until next time, guys, we're out.
See ya.